Messi, encara 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 Messi, gol, 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 gol.
How many times does this happen on a Football Manager save where you start the season superbly, then out of nowhere you just seem to drop right off? It happened to us, and taking chances was our biggest flaw, as we should have been second according to Mr. XG. Turns out all it took was a few role tweaks and, more importantly, some player instruction add-ons to turn things around again. In fact, now we're arguably playing even better, and we completely dominated one of the form teams in the league. A 2-0 win, but complete domination, and Citadella are right at the top. So just after Christmas, despite that little drop off, we are still in the hunt with 32 points, only 6 points off automatic promotion. But the big news is, what we focused on at the end of last season, we have improved massively. Do you remember chances created? Now we sit third, when we were way down at the end of last season. It's a similar story for expected goals. When we were halfway down the table at the end of last season, this season we're right at the top. Add to that, top of shots for, we just need to be a little bit more clinical and we would be absolutely flying. And something seems to have clicked with Condello, the chosen one himself. He's got really clinical and now has 13 goals in 19 and 6 in his last 5 matches. He's just scored a really nice hat-trick against high-flying Foggia. So we didn't panic, and what we did first was change some player roles to try and help the flow of the team. For example, down the right-hand side, Ruti Giuliano is now an inside forward on attack, meaning he'll basically end up as a really wide striker. Behind him, we've got Capone dropping to support, so he doesn't overexpose himself, because we do have plenty of players attacking down that side. However, on the other side, we've gone the other way. Parejo is an out-and-out winger. He really wants to be a winger, as you can see from his attributes. So we're going to lean into that, and we've made him a wing-back on attack. Alongside that, his crossing is a massive standout with 14, acceleration 15. So to capitalise on this, we've got him crossing more often because it just makes sense. Now, when he's a wing-back, it does mean he will spend a lot of the time up here. So then my thought was, would Traore be a bit of a wasted player? But I kept him wide because I want to keep the width. All I've done is added cut inside with ball, which is what he likes to do anyway, but it just means that when he gets the ball, he'll cut inside and Parejo will take over. I also added take more risks to Elton Soulage. When you look at him, he's got passing of 12, but more importantly, vision 15, and he likes to try killer balls, so that just makes sense. Occasionally, when Condolo gets a bit isolated, we do drop him back to deep line forward on attack so he can link up with the midfielders. So all is going pretty well. At the end of last episode, we wondered how Ruben would take to it. He's been fantastic. He spent a lot of the time on the bench because it's hard to get him in the team with the chosen one stipulation. But this is quite bad of me. But thankfully, Ruti's been injured quite a few times, so Ruben started a bit. Now, I do expect him to be a striker, but when he comes off the bench at the minute or starts, it's usually in this right-hand inside forward position. But you can see how close he is to the other striker. And against Genoa, our big rivals, he was fantastic, laying on one. And a little bit later on, he scored the second goal with a beautiful finish. It's pretty clear the kid's going to be a superstar, and some of his finishes are exquisite. I just need to work out a way to get him in the team because he needs to be in the team. So we're doing really well, the positives are good, but we have a problem, and it's the same old problem. Our finances are once again in the mud. But despite that, it is January, and this is the time of year I like to plan for the following season. Now, disregard the wage budget, the transfer budget. I'm just all about making a shortlist for players that if we have a turnaround in finances, we might be able to get. And it's dead simple stuff. I don't even use my scouts because I'm trying to save money on them. So we're up to player search, old school player search, edit search. And what we're going to look for is contract status expiring in 6 months. That's all we do. Pop that up there. And now we've got a raft of players that we can build a shortlist for, that we can potentially get on pre-contract agreements if our finances sort themselves out. Then it depends what your priorities are. So if you trust your scouts, you can go with the scout recommendation down there. You can see that. Or if you're looking for someone well-known, world reputation is always a safe bet. That's going to give you players you may have heard of, such as Rick Karsdorp, who could be available. If we're looking for a bit more experience, Eric Dyer's there. This could be the option. And if you consider that our squad is really, really young, we might be well versed in building a shortlist of some more experienced players, just in case our financial situation improves. Now, the other thing to think about is if you think that you have a chance of promotion and you might get promoted, tick the transfer interested in off, because these guys are thinking you've got to still be in Serie B. If we got promoted to Serie A, for example, if I take that off, it's a whole host of players, big time players, that are coming out of contract that you might be able to convince to join your project. For example, can you imagine us in Serie A with Hakan in the midfield helping out the youngsters? Granted, he might need to drop his wage demands ever so slightly, but you get the idea. But for now, I've got no reason not to trust the couple of scouts I do have, because remember those signings they've helped us find. So I'm going to have a quick look around here and then shortlist a few players who I feel might be able to contribute to us next season. Such as Dennis Goul. Here he's on at Porto's B team. He's out of contract end of the season. His wage is tiny. It's basically what I earned from Sainsbury's, my real job. He needs a pay rise. But he could be someone we sign as a good alternative. So this is where we bulk our squad ready for next season. And then we can get this shortlist bulked up, and then we can go back to it once we get in a better financial position. We had a good little run in the Coppa Italia. It was ended by Serie A Monza, but the league form continued to be decent. We did lose to runaway leaders Palermo, but we probably should have got a draw out of it. So we're in a pretty good spot at the minute. That probably should have been a draw, shouldn't it? But we have boosted ourselves up to third place. We can probably discount top because it looks like Palermo are running away with it. But we are right in the mix for that second automatic promotion spot. So the tactic's been fantastic. We haven't even touched that version. I think I've used it for maybe 20 minutes in one match to try and get an equaliser. But this one has been super solid. And when we've tweaked it a bit, it's really worked wonders. Chosen one Ruti has had some really annoying injuries throughout the season. You can see from the start there, he's had 6 separate small knocks, which normally would be really frustrating. But it has meant that I've given Ruben a bit more game time, so every cloud. And his attributes are starting to rise, and there is something worrying me. Remember, he cost us 350,000, but he does have a release clause of 1.6 million. So as soon as I get money, the first thing I do is to get him on a new contract. And the other annoying thing is some of our players are wanted. We knew about Sulaj and the Roma. They're always after him. But now they also want wing-back Parejo. This guy, man. This guy. So what we're going to do now is something a little different. Last time I talked about how we got some quality players on deadline day through agent offers. Remember, that's where we got Ruben and one for the future, Penchev. And not to mention Parejo on a free transfer. So I'm going to do it now and see if they come up trumps and find us some players that we can put on our shortlist. So it might be a little time consuming, but I can't recommend taking part in deadline day enough. And then this screen comes in. Now every hour or so it's going to update and you're going to get a raft of new players that you won't have ever seen in the game. For example, the first recommendation is this guy. He's a striker that's in Portugal. I don't have Portuguese scouts, so I'm just happy that he's been offered to us. But you can see he's got finishing of 15. He's off the ball's elite, and he's a determined little man as well. And the value is not crazy. So we'll go through deadline day now. On the flip side, we are going to have to deal with a few offers, such as this one. Salernitana came in for Pelagata. Now, he's not a regular for us, but he's one I want to keep back because he will be a chosen one player if one gets taken from us. I feel a bit sorry for him because he is good enough now, but he just can't get into the team in those forward positions. But one thing's for sure, 450,000 is nowhere near enough anyway, so that goes away. And now with 10 hours remaining, we've got a whole bunch more of agent offers coming in. So the first bunch of offers was down here, all the way down here. A good rule of thumb is if you see a nice, beautiful looking A grade, explore, have a look at them. And what you'll notice is the prices of these players are not too bad, are they? For example, this is a goalkeeper that's been recommended to us from Argentina, Raul Martin, and honestly, looking at him, wow. He looks like he could be an absolute world beater. He's got good handling, his agility is good, and remember, he's only 18, so everything's only going to go up. So the next one we explore is his contract details. Let's see if he's got a release clause. On this occasion, he doesn't. Going back to his screen though, you can see his value is pretty modest. That's pretty cheap. And also, if you look, his contract's out next Christmas. Instantly, I'm going to get him on my shortlist indefinitely. I want to explore signing him when we have the money. There's another player here, Marcelo Jose. This is Marcelo Jose. He's a little bit more expensive, between 190 and 1.9 million. But 19-year-old centre-back, you can just see the quality of these players is fantastic. Again, add him to that shortlist. Now with 6 hours to go, even more offers, and you might come across this. You can see down here, Nils Buas. You'll notice transfer value 0. Once you explore it a bit closer, you'll notice he's on an amateur contract. So you can basically pick this guy up for absolutely nothing. I go to approach to sign. He doesn't want a lot of money. This is an absolute no-brainer, and it's going to cost us nothing. Also, I wouldn't just look at the A ratings either. Some B-, B+ players are pretty decent as well. Let's have a look at Diego Fumagalli. Here's a player who can play left back if we need him to, or even central midfield. And you can see he's a pretty decent all-round player and really cheap. So if you're looking for squad players as well, it's another good option. Even a player like this, a C+ rating, Stefan Gilbert. Now, look at his past, PSG, and he finds himself at Atalanta but can't get a kick. But looking at him closely, for 19 years old and end of contract, good finishing, aggressive, determined, not bad. And there's that player out of contract, free transfer, it's going to cost us £300. I mean, come on. Just like that, we've got ourselves a new player, Niels Buas. There you can see him, already valued between 400,000 and 850,000. Cost us a big fat zero. And with 45 minutes to go, keep going, because look at this guy who just came in. Lucas Medina, who can play anywhere across the front 4 positions. I mean, 18 years old? Wow. Okay, so that's deadline day done. A less spectacular one than the summer deadline day, but hopefully you can see what I mean. We've shortlisted a clutch of players there, so if we get money, they're there waiting for us. It was fitting that my 200th game in charge, Kalina, a guy that's been there from the start, scored. The big man there from day one. So with 13 games to go, we are in the shake-up for automatic promotion. 4 points off the top from Empoli. If we can get a bit more consistency, is the promised land of Serie A in our targets, and maybe a reunion with some old favourites.